Good afternoon. Great to see all of you here. Let's go to my presentation. But before that, I come from Kuntaliitto, which is in English the Association of Finnish Local and Regional Authorities. That's a mouthful, I know. What we are an advocate organization for Finnish cities and municipalities. And I'm here today to talk about how cities and municipalities can actually save a lot of money and get more done by doing it together, by using reusable technology, by co-creation, cooperation, and sharing and scaling up innovations. But before I go to that, let's ask the question, what is a city? If you go to Wikipedia and look it up, it will say something like a city is a large settlement of human beings. And that's true, but it's also many other things, and one way of putting it is that cities are the basic unit of human civilization, of a civilized society. They are way older, more permanent, and more concrete than, for example, nation states, which in turn are more temporal and more abstract. So cities are the places where civilization started, and that means that they are kind of like states of their own, which shows in ways that make them very independent of the nation state they are in, and also of the other cities which they sometimes see as competition. Well, this doesn't have to be like this. Of course, everybody wants to be the pioneer, the front runner, because winner takes it all, right? But that doesn't necessarily have to be so. This is, for companies, this is an understandable mindset that, okay, those other companies in the same field, they are our competition, we need to crush them. For cities, they are not really competition. They may see each other as competition, but they aren't, and they should cooperate more. This should be a no-brainer, but for some reason it isn't, and this is why I go around talking about this issue. If we look at the sizes of Finnish cities, there are 5.5 million people living in the whole of Finland. That's roughly the same as the population of St. Petersburg, just about 300 kilometers to the east from here. So Finnish cities are not megacities by any measure. They are quite small. Even the biggest city is quite small on the world scale. And in Finland, we don't differentiate between cities and municipalities. A municipality of any size can call themselves a city if they want to. The smallest city or kaupunki in Finnish in Finland has a little more than 1,000 inhabitants. So, does the size matter? Do you have to be a big city to be smart? No. But does it have something to do with it? Definitely. If you have like 1,000 inhabitants, it stands to reason that you can't do much innovation by yourself. So, competition, cooperation, what should be the way to go? Like I said, it should be a no-brainer. The playing field is not level. Different cities have different advantages and challenges, and even the smallest municipalities in Finland, which can have as few as a couple of hundred inhabitants, they all have the same basic services that they legally have to provide for their citizens. So there's no sense in reinventing the wheel 311 times again and again. By pooling the effort and scaling up innovations, we can build better communities for all. I'm going to go now into some cases that could show some example of how to do this in practice. Kiradigi was a project by the Ministry of Environment in 2016 to 2018. And it was all about boosting the digital leap in the built environment and construction together with all the stakeholders, not just the government and the municipalities, but also the private companies. And KIRA is an abbreviation that comes from the Finnish words real estate and buildings. So there were 6 open calls in the 2 years. There were almost 400 applications from interested parties to get funding, and there were 139 different experiments done. All of this totaled up to almost 13 million euros. And part of the funding was from the government, approximately 4.5 million euros was from the government funds, and the rest was private money. So just very quickly, some of the experiments that were funded from this program. Some of these are just municipalities, some of them are just companies, and some of them are municipalities and companies together. So there was digital land use planning, wind simulations with the city model, automating design processes, BIM-based building permits. This was by 3 cities together. Paperless construction sites, managing concrete curing conditions with IoT on site. I have no idea what this is about, but probably very clever. Cleaning robot for construction sites. Oh, there's a video, but it's just going to go ahead. Our e-charge, what was called an Airbnb for electricity, and a window cleaning robot. So these are just few of the examples. Like I said, there was almost 140 experimentations funded from this program. So like I said, it was 4.7 million public funding. The own funding was 7.8 million from the participants. There has since been further funding for these experiments by 21.6 million euros. And it was estimated that if these experiments, the successful experiments, were scaled up, they alone would have an annual potential of saving 5.5 billion euros. So there is a lot of potential, and from these funded projects, 44% continue, 4% were aborted, 32% will not continue, and for 20% it was still open if they will continue or not. But one of the things that this also started, because like I said, this was a 3-year program which ended in 2018. So after this program, it was decided that this is something that should be continued, and as a result, KIRA Hub was founded. And KIRA Hub is an association. It's not a program anymore. It's not government funded. It's funded by all the participants of this program, mainly from the private side, who were wishing to continue with this cooperation. My organization, Kuntaliitto, is also one of the founding organizations of this KIRA Hub. They currently have 3 employees, and they have a seeding money for 3 years from the founding organizations to make it more sustainable in that time, so that it would eventually just carry on like business as usual. So That was Kiradiki as an example of scaling up innovation and also public-private partnerships. But I would also like to have another case example, which is about innovation from one city to be scaled up to a larger group of cities. So we go to the city of Oulu, which is in the north of Finland. And they have this, it started as a project and now it's a product, and it's called HALI. HALI is once again an abbreviation coming from Finnish words, but it also means hug in Finnish. But it's about emergency vehicle preemption in traffic lights. So why was this project started by the city of Oulu? They had some 122 accidents nationally for emergency vehicles at traffic lights in Finland in 7 years. So that's a lot of accidents. There were 94 injuries, 1 fatality. And this was from emergency vehicles colliding with other vehicles in traffic light sections. So these accidents cost like 2.5 million euros per year. And of course, it's not just money, it's also human lives. There were 1 fatality and quite a few injuries. Also, ambulances and fire trucks, they are very expensive equipment. So when they have an accident, it's not just the repair cost, it's also the cost of the ambulance or other vehicle being out of circulation for the time that it's being repaired. So there could be potentially huge savings, not just for the city of Oulu, but all of the cities in Finland and even worldwide if this is adopted globally. So how was it done? There is a GPS unit in the emergency vehicles that are using this service, and it gives them a green wave when they come to the traffic lights. So it preempts the traffic light. They don't have to override the red light anymore by driving against it and causing dangerous situations, but they always have the green light when they come to the intersection. So the system knows where all the ambulances are, and when they turn on the blue light at the top of the ambulance and then they are on an emergency call, then the system knows now they need the green light and they start changing it. And the system changes the green light ahead of the ambulance so that it can preempt any congestion in the traffic beforehand. In a way, this is nothing new. Traffic light producers, the companies who produce that, there are not so many of them worldwide, but there are a few big companies that have a large share of the market. They have been providing services like that for some time already, but it's always vendor specific. So what this does, this adds another layer to the architecture so that it doesn't matter who is the vendor for the traffic lights, but it works for them all. And many cities, because the cities are always growing and they are adding more traffic lights, so they may have traffic lights from different vendors. So from city's perspective, it's a technological nightmare to manage all of the different vendors. So this started in the city of Oulu, and by now it has been scaling up to quite a few other cities in Finland. There are 13 cities, 7 rescue services, 4 hospital districts, 1 police department, 1 helicopter service, over 400 traffic signal intersections, over 300 emergency vehicles, and currently expanding to 5 more cities. And the goal is to have a common national system. So this is a simplified version of the architecture. Like I already said, there are the traffic lights, and then there's the control system, and there are the GPS units in the vehicles. And what we are doing in Kuntaliitto for this is at some point the city of Oulu decided, okay, we started this. This is a good thing. We want to share this with the rest of the cities in Finland, but we don't really want to be in the center of this. We don't want to be the one managing this for the whole Finland, so we need somebody, and they turn to us. So right now we are building a national cooperation framework with the participating cities and also some government agencies taking part in this. It's free to use for the Finnish municipalities. It's not open source code per se, but any public authority in Finland can have it for free, so they don't need to pay any license fees. Will this be spreading outside of Finland? At the moment, we don't know. It's still out in the air. And if it does, will it be a commercial product, or will it still be on more or less open? That's also open for debate at the moment. But it could be an open standard. It could be something that could be implemented even with different systems, different vendors worldwide. That's not really in our interest at Kuntaliitto to take any standpoint in that way. The main thing for us is, of course, that something that one city developed in Finland will be useful for a great number of other cities. So this also has a lot of different stakeholders, like I said, municipalities, hospital districts, different rescue services, even private rescue services could be in this. The police, which is a government authority in Finland, and all kinds of different players, even the companies. So the future will show how this will continue, but we are currently really scaling it up from one city to be a nationwide service. So that's almost all I have time for this time. But if you have any questions, I'll be around here, and after this presentation, I'll probably be by the coffee pot somewhere in the back. So find me and ask me if you have anything you would like to know. Thank you.